winning, thanks to that brilliant 100 from Rashid Pant today, to South Africa, thanks to England's victory at Old Trafford on Friday in dramatic circumstances, managing to haul themselves off the ropes. They were in difficult positions during that game, but ended up winning emphatically by 118 runs. So we're at Headingley. The weather this morning is okay. We can see some blue sky, clouds quite high. We might get some showers this afternoon. There was some rain overnight. But we should be reasonably confident of getting through and having a decent game this afternoon. Now, we've had the toss. The two captains have been out there in the middle, Keshav Maharaj and Josh Buttler, and we can join Atif Nawaz.
So, Keshav, you've won the toss, opted to bat first. Talk us through your decision there.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Obviously, we don't know what the weather has in store, but looking at the conditions that we posed, I think it looks a bit drier than usual. But yeah, I think it's important that we try to get some runs on the board.
Keen to come back strong after the game in Old Trafford.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was an ideal performance from batting front, but we've been batting really well for the last 18 months, so it was bound to happen. But hopefully we rectify that today.
Do you have a number in mind, a good total for this surface here at Headingley?
A winning total would be nice. No, we don't actually have a total as yet. We'll assess once the batters get onto the park.
And having a look at the surface, was there anything you spotted, maybe with a view to yourself bowling a bit later?
No, I just think it just looked a little bit drier than what we used to seeing here at Yorkshire. So yeah, that's just basically purely the decision we made.
Fantastic, and big pressure on today's game as well. It's the decider. Are you feeling it? Are you keen on obviously closing out finishing the series off with a win?
Yeah, I think it's important. The guys are obviously excited to achieve something great as a team, as a unit that we haven't done for a long time. So I think it's more excitement than anything else. And yeah, the boys are ready to go.
Fantastic. Well, go well. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keshav. Josh Buttler, the England captain. Just been put in the field again. How do you feel about that? Were you happy with that? Sort of 50-50 about going in anyway?
Yeah, quite happy with that. Probably would have lent towards bowling first anyway. I think maybe a little bit of rain around later. We fancied a chase, and I thought if it did do a bit, it might do it early. So hopefully we can make early inroads.
Do you have like a number in mind you'd like to keep them to?
No, not yet at all, no. So we got to wait and see how the wicket plays, and of course we'll try and put in a really good performance.
Looking at the surface, do you anticipate anything happening early doors?
Not sure, to be honest. Again, I think there's a few unknowns. I think if it generally starts a bit slow here, the wicket can slow up, but we're quite confident chasing. I think it's a lot about focusing on how we can play as opposed to the surface as well. So we're desperate for a more complete performance. We've been striving for that for a while, and I think we're close.
And you must be very pleased with the performance at Old Trafford. Everybody must be on a high after that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a collective in the field, those first few overs really put the pressure on South Africa, and it's fantastic when you can do that. So it creates a real feel-good factor within the team, and we come here for a decider, which is exciting.
And happy memories for some of the team, at least for the last time England were here for the Test match. A huge victory, historic victory. Keen to add another win to that memory as well here today.
Yeah, of course, we've got a few Yorkies in the team as well who obviously love and relish playing here and generally do pretty well here as well. So hope for big performances from them.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck today. Go well. Thanks, Joss.
There we are, the two captains speaking to Atif Nawaz. Let me give you the team news. Both sides are unchanged. So England are Bairstow, Roy, Salt, Root, Buttler, Moeen Ali, Livingstone, Curran, Willey, Rashid and Topley. And South Africa, and the two openers are out there very shortly now, Kock and Malan, and then van der Dussen. And it just shows you the vagaries of cricket. 100 one day and then the duck the next in these two one-day internationals. Markram, Klaasen, Miller, Dwaine Pretorius, Maharaj the captain, Nortje, Ngidi and Tabraiz, Shamsi. So we're all set to go, 10 minutes away from the start of this match, and it's a very warm welcome to the Test match special box for Lauren Winfield-Hill, World Cup winner back in 2017 with the England women's team, and your first men's one-day international on TMS, so you're very welcome today, Lauren. And a local as well.
I am, yeah, a short trip in this morning, which was nice, but yeah, fantastic to join you.
So what are you expecting from today then?
I think it's a good surface, like Joss Buttler spoke about at the toss. I think it's a good surface here at Headingley, but the weather around that we've had, obviously, it's been so dry the last week or so. It's hard to know what a good score is at the minute because, like we've seen in the series, it's been it's sort of had it all, hasn't it, so far? Batters have have struggled to get those big totals, besides obviously Van der Dussen for South Africa. So I think when you're not sure of how the pitch is going to play a chase is, it's good to see how they go about it, how the pitch plays, whether it spins. But also, we've seen the forecast, there is rain around this afternoon, so Duckworth Lewis comes into play a little bit in a chase as well, and there has been a little bit of moisture around overnight. So, as Joss mentioned at the toss, there might be a little bit of movement for the seamers for England here first up, and we've seen how damaging the opening bowlers have been in that last game. There'll be a few scars.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a really strange game, that last one at Old Trafford. I think most people at the halfway stage thought England didn't have enough, and they end up ridiculously winning by 118 runs. It's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, it's the game of cricket. It's not always easy to predict. And then the halfway stage at Chester Street, South Africa's at 333 on the board, which actually seemed like a pretty good score to me, a very good score. But people saying, I'm not sure they got enough here on a warm day. So a big deciding match today. So you've been up here. There was a bit of rain overnight, but we had the dry summer up here that everyone else is having. Well, I certainly experiencing down south.
Yeah, I think like I said, it is usually a good wicket. It does turn here. It's a quick outfield. The square spans right the way across the pitch. But like you said, we're unsure, and I think with the England team as well, they're under pressure. They like a chase. I think the way in which this series has gone, the batters haven't really fired. I think sometimes having a marker to chase and an over rate required and run rate required can sometimes really stretch you to play in the fashion in which we've heard Matthew Mott speak about, and Jos Buttler wanting to continue that real positive attacking brand of cricket. And sometimes having that score on the board to then almost focus on and try and be ahead of all the time can sometimes bring out that style of play. It's been strange so far. It's almost been like ODI cricket in the past, where it's been a bit more gritty, and it hasn't been the razzle and dazzle that we've been used to. But it's that's been amazing in the sense of it hasn't been the huge sixes out the ground that we've sort of become familiar with, but it's had quality in a different way, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it may have something to do with the pitches. Actually, they haven't. I mean, interesting here, Keshav Maharaj. The second time I've heard him say in this series that it looks a bit dry, and he said it at Durham as well. And they got the runs on the board, and England just couldn't quite stay in the game. They were always behind in that match, and South Africa played excellently, and they really exploited the conditions. What about the one thing to note, Andy Zaltzman alongside me, the stats here in terms of batting first or batting second. It is worth noting Jos Buttler's lost the toss again, or the opposition captain has won the toss again. That's 6 in a row, isn't it, in one-day internationals?
Well, he should resign, so no skill with the coin. Yeah, it's better than lucky. He did have a very good... Before becoming permanent England captain, he had a pretty good record with tosses, so I don't know.
He's not actually involved out there, is it? Because the match referee, whoever, spins the coin, and the other opposition captain gets to call, and if he calls right, there's nothing you can do.
Well, fundamentally, Simon, we are all victims of fate in this
Indeed.
But in terms of batting first and as an advantage at this ground, as Buttler was saying, it's sort of 50-50 here. The last 14 matches in international cricket, men's one-day international, back to 2007, the team batting first has won 8 and lost 6. Prior to that, there was a huge advantage batting second. The team batting second had won 12 of the previous 13 completed one-dayers here. One interesting thing, there's a clash of stats coming up today, Simon. That England have been bowled out in their last 5 one-day internationals. They hadn't had a run of being bowled out in 5 consecutive innings since 1999. But at Headingley, no team batting first has been bowled out in a one-day international since 2004. That's 17 games in which the team has batted through its 50 overs. 2 stats enter, only 1 stat can leave, Simon.
Well, what those stats suggest actually is that it's generally speaking a good batting pitch here.
Generally, there have been a few low-scoring games. So in the World Cup, Sri Lanka beat England, they made 232 for 9 and then bowled England out for 212. So that was a kind of low-scoring, tense game. A bit like the final ended up being. Actually, where there have been big scores, England made 350 against Pakistan in the World Cup. West Indies made 311. In fact, last time England played South Africa here, they made 339 in the first innings. That was back in the 2017 series. As Maharaj said, they've not had a huge amount of success in one-day internationals, bilateral series in this country. This is the 6th series South Africa played. They've only won one of those in 1998, and since beating England comfortably in the 99 World Cup, when South Africa was probably the best team for the group stage and then lost that dramatic semi-final, tied that dramatic semi-final with Australia. Since then, against England, in England, they've only won 5 and lost 14. So, there you go. There's your statistical background for today's game.
Indeed. There we go. So, Lauren, just tell the listeners what you're up to at the moment, then.
Yeah, so I've just been. I played up in Durham yesterday for the Northern Diamonds against Loughborough Lightning, which was where we're talking about pitches and they're being incredibly dry at the minute. That was another low-scoring affair. Loughborough batted first and got 200, and we were 9 down to knock them off in the last over. It was a lot like playing in Mumbai at times. Big turn, very, very dry. And like we spoke about here today, and Maharaj said at the toss, is we're not used to all this sunshine and these real hot temperatures that we've been experiencing. So pitches aren't as predictable and as typically English as what we've become accustomed to.
No, I mean in theory as well. The championship's going on at the moment. This is where spinners come into their own, really, at this time of the year, normally, traditionally, and back in the day, it's where spinners flourished in the sort of drier part of the summer. But how much championship cricket is left? It's going to be a lot of it. It's going to be played in September now, and of course the 100 is starting in a week or two's time when these white ball matches finish. So but these are the sort of conditions that do encourage spins, and we have got some good spinners on show today. Yeah,
we have, and they've featured really heavily in this series already, haven't we? We've seen this quality spin in both sides. It's almost a bit of a battle of the strength in that, and it'll be interesting how that plays out today and how the game changes from the new ball to when those spinners come on in the middle. And I think that'll be a really key phase for both teams, is how well do they play that potential block of spin that we may see through the middle.
Yeah, definitely. And you think of Headingley, traditionally, we've thought about in the past, we talked about during the test match, you think of Headingley as being sort of capricious and the seamers holding sway, but the ball has turned here. Right, here come the England team, led by Josh Buttler. The umpires, there's a real Yorkshire flavour to the umpires today. In fact, they are all Yorkshiremen. Richard Kettleborough, Alex Wharf, and the TV umpire is Richard Illingworth. And there are some Yorkies, of course, in that England team. Joe Root and Josh Buttler. Johnny Bairstow, I meant. Bairstow, who plays so well in the test match here. Well, he played well in all the test matches, it seems, churning out century after century. But England will be on the chase today. So Kock and Malan make their way out to the middle. Malan, who made that half century in Durham and then hold out fairly early on, was the first wicket the other day. I mean, it was a bizarre game, that. England looking behind, winning the game comfortably. Spinners coming into it after the initial 5 wickets went down with a run out in the seamers. There was a sort of bit of a perfect storm for England at the start of that innings. There was the run out, there was the catch down the leg side, there was the miscue from Malan. Got England underway, but you don't win many matches from 6 to 4. Jimmy Anderson alongside me, fresh from his television duties.
Good morning.
Good morning. You'll be able to see the television highlights this evening. I just need to check the time. 23:20, 20 past 11 this evening. Well, if you can't wait up for the highlights at 20 past 11 tonight, then they will be on the BBC iPlayer as well to catch up on your leisure with them there. Right, it's going to be Reece Topley to bowl the first ball of the match, and it's going to be Malan to take strike. There are 2 slips in. It's the normal field, really. 2 slips, 3 saving one on the offside, 2 on the on, fine leg, and deep third. And Reece Topley is bowling from the Kirkstall Lane end of the ground, and he moves in now to bowl to the right-handed Malan, and it's full and it's clipped away. There's a good-looking shot, half stopped or quarter stopped at mid-wicket. And he goes out towards Curran at mid-on, who runs around and picks it up, gets it onto his left hand and sends in the return. And Malan is away first ball. The firm clip into the onside. 1 for no wicket, South Africa. Jimmy, people talk here about the hill at Headingley. You're bowling down the hill or up the hill.
Yeah.
Is it that pronounced or not?
Yes.
It is still there, is it?
It is, yeah. I think they've flattened it a little bit over the years, but it's still, like uphill in particular, you feel like you are really having to run in hard to get up that hill. The tricky bit about the downhill now is that it flattens out at the crease, so you almost go down quite steeply and then back up at the crease, so it can be quite difficult to find your rhythm.
Well, it's Reece Topley who has to deal with that at the moment because he is bowling down the hill to de Kock. It's outside the off stump, and de Kock plays a check drive into a gap on the offside for runs, probably 2 of them. Curran has to chase it out all the way to the boundary, picks it up and sends it in to the non-striker's end, and they are through for 2. So both Malan and de Kock off the mark first ball. South Africa 3 for no wicket in this first over. So do you prefer to bowl down the hill or up the hill?
I bowled down it for 15 years and then realised that the other end was my better end.
This is Topley bowling to de Kock. Oh, full toss, and he does not climb into it. Hits it straight to Salt at cover as if he took him by surprise, and there's no run.
One thing I feel like can happen when you bowl down the hill is you go a bit too full, and we've seen that already. First 3 balls from Reece Topley have been 2 half volleys and a full toss there to de Kock, who probably missed out on that.
Yeah, it's not been the best of starts from Reece Topley, and it's small sample size, only 3 balls. He goes in now and bowls a better delivery. Tight to off stump, it's pushed away by de Kock, dropping it short of Salt at cover. He has to go to his left a fraction, picks it up. Nice positive running from Quinton de Kock. South Africa 4 for no wicket in this first over. Both sides unchanged today. South Africa just play better, I suppose. They made that change, enforced change with Quayo out of their side after that concussion incident at Chester Street, and they've stuck with that team that lost the other day. Here's Topley bowling on the hip there of Malan, guides it down towards fine leg. Rashid in action, sent in return to Buttler. It's been a busy first over from South Africa, knocking the ball around. 5 for no wicket. They've scored off most of the deliveries so far from Reece Topley, who has been impressive actually. He's been it's not been the best of white ball summers for England, but he's one player that's really, I think, emerged and staked his claim for future matches. Big tournaments coming up. He bowls outside the off stump. There's a good one. Beats de Kock and goes through to Jos Buttler. It's the end of the first over. South Africa 5 for no wicket.
Yeah, that was a better ball. He bowled that into the wicket, back of a length, and normally here at Headingley with a new ball you do get a bit of seam movement, but I just thought Reece Topley was a bit floaty with the first few balls, trying to put it there almost. Got to really snap and hit the wicket hard if you're going to get anything out of it, and it's a much better delivery there, beating the outside edge.
Just I think, Jonny, you've been playing for what, 20 years at this level. Did you play on any of those old capricious Headingley pitches, or was that just difficult difficult pitches? They went up and down and seamed, and or they sort of just began to flatten out a bit more?
I always found them really flat here. Yeah. I remember growing up watching many an England victory here with moving around and going up and down. I think I remember Andy Caddick potentially playing against the West Indies, bowling really well here.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I've started, they feel really flat, particularly one-day internationals. Always a good pitch, quite regularly 300 plus scores.
Right, here's David Willey bowling up the hill from the football stand end. His first ball of the match, played away by Malan up towards Rashid at mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, I remember one day, I didn't play in the game, but England got, I want to say 350, and then Sri Lanka chased them down in 30 overs. Jayasuriya.
Oh, that
just shows you how flat they were. In recent times, it might have slowed down a little bit, but still not much there for the seamers.
Yeah, that was a memorable game there. I think Marcus Trescothick got 100 for England, but then, Sri Lanka just peeled off 320 to win, 330 to win. Willey bowls, and forward goes Malan, playing it back down the pitch, and there's no run. He's blocking that one. Yeah, famous game. Sri Lanka winning well inside the distance. I think it was 37 overs that day.
England 321 for 7, 2006. Gothic 121, and Sri Lanka 324 for 2 in 37.3 overs, so 12.
Someone else got 100 as well as Jayasuriya.
Taranga, who was a good one-day player for several years for Sri Lanka, made 109. Jayasuriya 152 off 99.
This is Willey bowling, and that one just seemed to bounce a bit and take him by surprise. Malan, he managed to negotiate it, playing it just backward square on the offside. No run. 5 for no wicket. Well, just something there for David Willey.
Well, that's that length I was talking about, the sort of back of a length, rather than trying to potentially pitch it up and swing it, which David Willey normally does. That's quite an aggressive length, sort of going through hip height, and just bounced a little bit on Malan.
Tries again. The sun's out at the moment. Past the umpire he goes. And Malan comes forward there and doesn't time that push into the onside. He goes rolling up towards mid-on. And there's no run. 5 for no wicket. 4 dot balls to start so far from David Willey. I mean, the most perhaps famous, infamous, not actually infamous, but the game that really sticks in the memory, played on this ground, one-day internationals in recent years, was that World Cup match where England didn't chase a score you'd expect them to chase against Sri Lanka, and then all the doubts seemed to creep in. Willey bowls. Oh, a big drive and a miss. Malan looking to hit that through the offside, went past the outside edge, taken by Buttler. And Malan just a bit uncertain against Willey in this over. It wasn't that full. He went for the drive and to go across him a bit there. Didn't do a lot, did it? Really?
Yeah, it was a sort of wobble seam across, just trying to angle it across Malan. And I think the pressure of the previous 4 balls has probably led to that shot.
Willey goes in to complete the over, and he plays it firmly back. Malan stopped by Willey away to his left-hand side. He lobs the ball to the umpire, and David Willey has started with a maiden on what's his adopted home ground, although he is leaving Yorkshire at the end of the season. 5 for no wicket after 2 overs. South Africa winning the toss again. I don't suppose you've had a chance to go out and have a look at the pitch, Jimmy? No,
I didn't. It looks good for me. It's one of those that looks dry. So that sort of grey-brown colour. But I think that's part of the reason for South Africa winning the toss and batting first, is they think it's going to dry out even more.
Yeah. Here's Topley bowling to Kock. Full and big drive. He misses that one as well. Goes past the edge. And it's through to Buttler. Well, that invited the shot from Reece Topley. It was very full. It was one of those eyes lit up sort of deliveries. But Kock going for it. I think it just went away a fraction, didn't it?
Yeah, I can't tell if it was swing or seam really, but good seam position for away swing to the left-hander. The Kock went for a big drive. It was there for it. The length was probably there for it, but just moved really late.
Good from Topley. Goes in now and bowls. Another full delivery. And Kock tries to drive through the offside. Doesn't time that as well. Drags it somewhat into the onside. Goes up towards mid-on, and there's no run. Crowd building up on this Sunday morning. Not everyone here at the moment. A lot of talk about the viability of 50-over cricket with Ben Stokes retiring, saying there's almost too much cricket. Here's Topley bowling, and Kock plays firmly just to the bowler's right. Topley peels away to his right and fields in his follow-through, and there's no run. But what we have noticed so far this summer with the 50-over games is that people have turned up to watch. There have been good crowds for all the games. People do like a day out at a one-day international.
Yeah, we discussed this during the last game actually at Old Trafford, and people were getting in touch saying they still love this format, get to see their favourite players.
Topley to Kock, short ball, and Kock doesn't play at it, but it is a wide. 2 umpires liaising, Richard Kettleborough and Alex Wharf, deciding that was a wide ball over the head of the batsman's normal stance. 6 for no wicket in this 3rd over, and that's the point, because they're played at different all around the country, so it's your one chance to go each summer. Although, having said that, there were 2 chances at Old Trafford, weren't there? But then lots of India supporters turned up for one game, and perhaps more England supporters there on Friday. Here is Topley bowling, and Kock driving nicely. Doesn't tried to hit it too hard. Sam Curran scuttling it out after it towards the wide long off boundary, and the bats coming back for 3 runs. De Kock easing that through extra cover. 9 for no wicket in this 3rd over.
Yeah, just timing that one. Again, slightly full of a length from Reece Topley, trying to get that late movement that we saw earlier in the over that beat the bat of De Kock. That one, De Kock kept his shape really well with the shot, didn't try and hit it too hard. Just used the pace of the ball and his timing and pierced the gap.
Topley bowls, Malan drives, and it's well stopped. The backward point by Jason Roy, diving away to his left. Good piece of fielding. Skewed drive from Malan. He was looking to hit that much straighter, thickish outside edge. And Roy supporting the bowler there. Really good piece of fielding. 2 hands away to his left-hand side.
I thought that was something we saw at Old Trafford. England's fielding was really, really good.
Topley to Malan. Malan is forward, pushing that away into the offside. Livingstone to his right. Nice athletic piece of fielding from him. Well, they'd expect him to stop it, and tied it up, and he did so. And that's the end of 3 overs. South Africa yet to strike a boundary so far. 9 for no wicket.
You mentioned the unusual contours of this ground. Reece Topley, although he's been playing over a decade of cricket domestically, has only played 1 match at Headingley before, and that was in the 100 last year when he bowled 3 overs for the Oval Invincibles against the Northern Superchargers. Never played a red ball game here, and not played a 50-over game here either.
He started well enough though. 2 overs for 9 runs. And, Willey made the excellent start with that maiden over first up. Now he's got Quinton de Kock in his sights. De Kock, who played a loosish shot the other evening at Old Trafford. There was a big bonus when you can get a player of his quality out early. Really flourished in the series just yet. Willey bowls to him, and that's a nice looking shot. First runs off Willey. He's hit that out towards deep mid wicket before, across the practice pitches, goes very quickly out there, easing the ball away. And another of those deliveries where batters like them, really, just in a nice clipping zone. Looked as though he strayed onto his pads, and indeed he did. Yeah,
It's been really impressive the last couple of balls that De Kock's faced. He's sort of not tried to overhit it. The pitch, I don't think, is that easy to time on, so he's just waiting as long as possible.
Willey bowls to De Kock, who drives, and De Kock hits it straight to cover. Again, they're just there, an illustration. That might not be that easy to time today.
Yeah, he tried to force that one a bit harder. He tried to hit it a bit harder and didn't quite time it. So I think you've got to really wait for the ball as long as possible, play it under your eyes, as we saw with the shot that he played through extra cover and then through mid-wicket just there.
De Kock is on 10. South Africa 13 for no wicket. Crowd quite animated early in the day. Goodness knows what they're going to be like at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And the trumpeter's getting them going. It is normally a raucous atmosphere on this ground. Willey, with his jogging run, goes in and bowls short outside the off stump. Cut away by De Kock. Stopped by Bairstow fielding at point. England have got 2 fielders there in that, well, De Kock hitting zone actually is one of his areas. So Bairstow's at point, and there's also a backward point as well, and a cover. So they've gone from 2 slips to 1 for Quinton de Kock. Joe Root there having a chat with Jos Buttler. The Root at first slip. Bairstow's come out of that slip corner, fielding on an old wicket end. Willey bowls. De Kock comes forward and plays that towards mid-on. Who's towards the edge of the circle there, Rashid, so can't prevent the single. So 1 more to the total. 14 for no wicket in the 4th over. Yeah, early impressions of this pitch, and they are only early impressions. It might be a quite hard working surface today for the batters and also for the bowlers as well. And that 3.5, 4 hours you spend out there in a one-dayer.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell if the ball's not coming off the surface because there's a bit of moisture in it potentially, which then it might get better throughout the day.
Willey to Malan, and Malan is quietly forward there, playing that towards mid-on, and there's no run.
Or whether it's already very dry and that's why it's not coming off the pitch. Well, it's coming off the pitch at different paces. That's the way it looks, the way the batters are struggling to time it. think England will be conscious of they've struggled chasing on wearing pitches throughout this series, so they'll be very, very conscious of that.
14 for no wicket. And Malan on 2. And Willey bowls to him, and Malan drives firmly. That was right up there. Drilled out towards mid-off. Straight to the fielder, Moeen Ali, and there is no run. That's the end of Willey's over. 14 for no wicket after 4 overs. So that's an interesting thing, is that as a fielding side, do you then set yourself a target to defend? Do you know what I mean by that? You say, well, like, if they get 280, that's going to be hard for us to chase, so we have to try to limit them in the way that you do if you've already got the runs on the board and they're chasing.
Yeah, I don't think you would set a total. You'd just be so conscious of being of certainly the fielders in the ring at this stage, at an early stage like this, trying to just swarm the batters, trying to dive on everything, stop us. Every run is absolutely crucial when you're chasing on what looks like not a tired pitch, but a slow wicket.
14 for no wicket. The men out deep third and deep back with square leg. The Kock comes forward. Thickish outside edge on that delivery from Reece Topley, the first of a new over. Goes down towards deep third. Adil Rashid in front of the new stand down there, the Howard stand, the architect who designed it. Still got that one stand that looks out on the cricket ground, and the other side the stand looks out on the rugby ground behind. Gradually this stadium has been redeveloped over the years.
The MCG in the early days, they had a reversible grandstand, so they would tip the seats one way to watch cricket and the other way to watch horse racing.
Here goes Topley, bowling to Malan, who guides us away towards backward point, and there's no run. You have to develop that a little bit.
It was a reversible stand.
So where was the horse racing?
So the horse racing was on one side and the cricket ground was on the other
Right.
side. This was like in the 1870s, I think. Right. And so the seats would, just tip it one way or the other. So it was like reversible.
Well, like on a seesaw.
Well, sort of, I guess.
How long did that exist for? This is Topley bowling, very full, almost Yorker length. It's dug out down the ground by Malan for 4. Moeen couldn't get across to his right-hand side. It wasn't perfectly timed, or it didn't feel as if it was perfectly timed from Malan, but again, we're used to this Headingley ground. The outfield very quick, scooted across towards a long off. It hit it hard into the surface, and it just took some of the pace off. It went bobbling away, but Moeen couldn't get across.
Yeah, again, too full from Reece Topley. He's just getting a little bit floaty from this end. 19
for no wicket. Topley bowls, dragging his length back a fraction there. Malan is forward and then uncertain. Inside edge onto the pad. Ball going away into the offside, and there's no run. Zelt's has got some pictures up on his computer. That doesn't really work very well on the radio, but it does help illustrate it to us.
Well, you can describe it with words, Simon.
Yeah, I can, but it just looks really odd. That must, well, one of the pictures there must be the design, the architect's design. Here's Topley bowling outside the off stump, and that's almost like a baseball shot from Malan. Hits it over mid-off for 4. Short from Topley, wide of off stump. Sort of helped. Powerful help by Malan. I think it's the best way of describing it, over mid-off with a bit of muscle in that stroke. 23 for no wicket. Coming to the end of the 5th over. Malan into double figures. He's on to 10.
Yeah, he's almost gone for a cut shot, short and wide from Reece Topley. He's gone to cut it, but ended up just flat batting it over Moeen Ali's head at mid-off.
Hit it very well. Here's Topley bowling on the hip of Malan. He turns that forward a square on the onside. Salt goes from mid-wicket to pick up, lobs the ball into Buttler. And they're through for a single. It's 24 for no wicket. We've had the first 5 overs. Malan 11, to Kock 12. And not quite sure what to make of these opening 5 overs. It might not be so easy for the batters today, but is there going to be, I think there's much movement in there for the seam bowls, and there might be some spin. We'll see later. Anyway, it might not be easy to time it. More from you, Jimmy, and then it's going to be Scott Reed.
Yeah, decent start from England. I think, it does look like a difficult pitch to time the ball on. The worry is chasing on a pitch that's already difficult to time. The likelihood is it'll get worse as the day goes on.
Morning, James.
Good morning.
There is Willey running into Malan. That's driven into the offside. Caught at point. Roy takes the catch. Malan's gone for 11. And South Africa lose their first wicket with the first delivery of the 6th over. 24 for 1. Malan gone, caught Roy, bowled Willey.
Yeah, we're just talking about how hard it is to time on this pitch, and he's trying to force a good length ball through the offside. Got an outside half of the bat. Got an aerial to Jason Roy at backward point. And he stood there for a minute after he played the shot to Malan. He can't quite believe what he's done. But he's just got a bit his itchy feet, I'd say. He timed a couple well off Reece Topley in the previous over, and then got his confidence up. But he that ball just wasn't there to play that shot through the offside.
Yeah, and the way he's walking off would
trudging off.
Yes, it is a trudge. Yeah, his shoulders drooped and slowly making his way off the field and back up to the dressing room. A frustrated look on the whole body language there of Malan. Gone for 11. First wicket then for England. Was it a brave move to bat first because of what happened on Friday night when South Africa last faced England with the bat, or do you just kind of put all that to bed and forget about it?
No, it's a different day today. I think they played well up at Durham when they batted first, especially when the pitch looks, from a distance. I've not been up close, but it does look good from a distance. But these first few overs, it maybe looks a little bit slow, a little bit hard to get your timing. And again, I think that does still warrant that decision to bat first, because the likelihood is, if the weather stays as it is now, it's quite breezy and the sun's out, I think it'll just get drier and harder to score as the day goes on.
It is a breezy day, yeah. We can see the trees billowing out towards the western side of the ground. Van der Dussen, new batter. Willey's into him, makes him play. A ball angled in towards Van der Dussen, just squeezing it out towards extra cover, and there's no run. So 24 for 1 in the 6th over. Willey with the breakthrough. Just took his bottom hand off the bat.
Just watching that again, yeah, that the Malan dismissal, it's quite wide outside off stump, and it looks to me like he's trying to hit it too straight down the ground, and therefore getting that leading edge to backward point.
Willey, left arm over the wicket, balls. Van der Dussen onto the front foot, smothering the ball away into the offside. Picked up at cover, and again there is no run. Will the other batters in the South Africa team kind of learn from that dismissal, watching how he's tried to play that and pick up a few points from it? Yeah,
I think so. I think, if I was the South African batters now, I'd imagine they'd be talking about the pace of the pitch, if it's difficult to time, and what might be a good score.
Willey bowls again. A little shuffle forward and just pushes up towards wide mid-off and gets through for a single. It's a good stop by Moeen, but it's also a good run too. Just working it to Moeen's left-hand side and getting through for a single. Van der Dussen gets his first run. South Africa move to 25 for 1.
Yeah, because I'd suggest that it might not be a 300-plus wicket. It might be a case of, trying to get above or get to a certain point, maybe get to 220, 200, 220 with 10 overs left, and then explode at the back end.
De Kock on strike, Willey in, wide ball. Hit firmly back down the ground, just beyond the reach of David Willey. Trying to cut the ball off to his right-hand side, picked up at mid-off, and there's no run.
I do remember a couple of scores in the World Cup which were 230-ish on this ground, so that it is possible to defend lower scores. So it might, as I said, it might not be a case of getting 300. It might be, they might already be thinking of sort of around 250 as a good score.
Final ball of the 6th over. De Kock waits, a wide ball which he cuts. Just picked up backward of point by Roy, shuffling away to his left-hand side, and there is no runs. That 6 overs gone, 25 for 1. De Kock 12 and Van der Dussen on 1.
Yeah, those World Cup games mentioned earlier on, the Sri Lanka-England game. Sri Lanka 232 for 9, England 212 all out. Afghanistan made 227 for 9 against Pakistan, and they had a tricky chase, winning with 2 balls to spare, 230 for 7. So there were certainly a couple of games where that chase was difficult. Rassie van der Dussen's single took him to 1,500 runs in one-day internationals in his 32nd innings. Only one player has reached that milestone in fewer innings. That was Hashim Amla in 30. Van der Dussen was 1 run away from equalling that record in Durham when he was out for 134 and then got a duck. So he's ended up tied in second with 4 other players, 32 innings. Babar Azam, Ryan Tenderskater of Holland, Jonathan Trott of England, and George Bailey of Australia.
Yeah, mixed emotions for Van der Dussen in this series so far. The century in the first match at Durham, and that nought. I mean, you couldn't really have two more contrasting emotions, I guess.
And not just a nought, it was a strangle down the leg side as well.
It was,
so, yeah, makes it feel even worse, I think.
Moeen is into the attack for the 7th over of the innings. Slip in place, Van der Dussen on strike, Moeen Ali in and bowling. Fizzed in, a little bit fallen on off stump and driven to mid-off where Sam Curran fields, and there's no run. Moeen has a deep backward square leg and a deep mid-wicket. A short fine leg, short third, point, cover, mid-off, mid-on and mid-wicket. Moeen's in and bowling. Oh, that comes off the edge just where Root had been relocated. Down towards the fine third-man boundary for 4 runs. Van der Dussen moves on to 5. And South Africa 29 for 1.
I like this move firstly by Jos Buttler. I think bringing Moeen in the power play is a good option. Unfortunately, the slip only lasted 1 ball, and then the very next ball goes through that gap. So the frustrations of being a captain.
Just moves Joe Root to short cover, and the edge disappears where Root was. Gets forward in defence this time, Van der Dussen. Good stride down the pitch, bat in front of his pad, and defends it back along the ground. Scooped up by Roy, coming up from mid-wicket. Hands it to Moeen, who's twirling in again. Once more forward in defence, Van der Dussen. And there is no run. It's a spin into the attack in the 7th over. So in the power play. Van der Dussen on 5. There's Moeen over the wicket, balls again, little reverse paddle, nicely played. Willey will chase after it, down towards the football stand end, comes back for 2. And Van der Dussen moves on to 7, and South Africa 31 for 1. And 1 ball left of the 7th over. Little twirl of the bat from Van der Dussen, looking out towards the western side of the ground, that leg side boundary. 2 fielders there, deep backward square leg, deep mid-wicket. Moeen bowls again. He plays forward and defends. And there is no run. That's the end of the over. 6 off it. 31 for 1. With de Kock on 12. Van der Dussen on 7. And the 1 wicket to 4. Malan caught by Roy off Willey for 11. Worth an over of spend from Moeen in this power play. At least 1 over.
Yeah, definitely. I think we might see a bit more of it. That last ball just showed a hint of turn back into Van der Dussen, the right-hander. Got an inside edge onto his pad.